Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we are here with lecture number 28, and today we are going to discuss about the marketing and how much of an essential part it is for any entrepreneurial venture, and what are the factors that we should be taking care of when considering the marketing aspect of any business. Before we move on, we first are going to look what we have already read. In the last lecture, we talked about the entrepreneurs and how they differ from the entrepreneurs in real life, and that we further discussed their types and the compensation that are offered to the entrepreneurs, and the barriers they often face within the organizations or otherwise, as well as we looked at the freedom factors that are attached to that discussed aspect. Further, we compared their advantages and disadvantages in parallel to one another, and lastly, we discussed the 10 commandments of the entrepreneurship. So, in today's lecture, we will be discussing about the four P's of marketing that are individually the product, the place, the price, and the promotion, and how they play their role in development of a successful marketing strategy. Next, we are going to look at the marketing wheel of fortune, and second, lastly, we will be looking at how the small businesses are compared to the large corporations in terms of marketing and otherwise when carrying their businesses, and keeping those in view, how those small businesses can make their weaknesses as an advantage to target the new markets. So to begin with, the marketing is basically an activity as a set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. So, marketing, by looking at this definition, that is defining different aspects, that it is a set of institutions, it is a set of different values that are used in communicating or the creation process, and how they are related to the clients and the partners, or how those stakeholders get benefited from, or how the product or the outcome of our venture, how it benefits the society at large. So all those aspects are interrelated into one core value of marketing, right? So it is basically the set of activities that basically involves all these aspects and sum them up as one, and further helps to extend the business. But next we will be looking at much simpler definitions for our better understanding, and that marketing can also be defined as the process of creating and delivering desired goods and services to the customers. So in this simple representation or definition of marketing, we can see that both of the business types are covered in here, that is the delivering of desired goods as well as the service sector of our market or businesses. Second definition of marketing can be the process through which you make and keep customers. Well, marketing is about reaching out to people and then convincing them about your product, and then making them buy your product, and after they buy your product you keep those customers, you don't lose them. That's the essence of marketing. And lastly, in this definition, we define marketing as a matchmaker between what you are selling and what customers are willing to buy. So that, and this is the thing, that when you make some product, you market it or project it in such a way that you convince the customers that they should become willing to buy it if they were not already thinking of buying it. They should be convinced enough to buy it, right? So the core idea of our discussion today is the four P's of our marketing, that is the product, the place or placement aspect, and then the price and the promotion associated to any product or idea. If we look at the product, right, the term product refers to a tangible, it's a physical thing, right, or it's the experience or services if we're talking about the service sector, right? So this is the main thing that we are going to present to our customers, right? So what will be the first thing when it comes to marketing and it's related to a product? It's a brand name. It should be appealing enough. It should represent that business or that service very accurately, and it should not be offending or too strange for the uh, customers to remember it, right? It should be appealing enough for to reside in the mind of the customer, and they should easily be able to pronounce it and remember it and tell it to somebody else. Firstly, when the brand name aspect of the product is qualified, next comes the functionality. Whatever product you are selling or the service you are uh, projecting or convincing somebody else to use, it should offer a sound functionality, and it should be functional more than what is already being offered, right? It should have competitive advantage over other competitors that are already existent in the market. So it should offer a sound functionality, and it should be a reliable one, right? You should have a persistent experience of whatever you are using. Next is the styling factor. Obviously, to appeal something more towards the customer, a thing should be physically styled in such a way that is not only easy to use, easy to approach, easy to maintain, but it should also be attractive to the eyes of the customer himself or herself. Next is the quality. Quality, well, it is a subjective term. Quality is defined in different forms for everybody has a different idea of what quality is, but the main aspect what defines quality is that it you meet the buyer's expectation for whatever he is paying, right? It should be reliable, like I have already said. It should be a credible thing. For any hardware product or any software product, the quality will be changing depending on that product type. For any software to be of quality, it should run smoothly, use less resources on the system it is running. It should give persistent results, right? It should perform all the functionalities it is supposed to function, right, without crashing down. So like I said, that quality is a pretty subjective term. It not only changes on the terms of whoever is experiencing it or buying it, but also it changes on basis of the quality product type. Next is the safety feature. Safety feature is obviously very essential, like in the cars and that are being delivered here locally or internationally, their safety features differ quite drastically, and that's a main concern for lots of customer in international markets and in our local market. So safety should be a priority for whatever product you are um, giving out to the customers, right? If next is the packaging thing. Packaging should be attractive, and also it is something that becomes a part of an identity for that product. For example, if you are buying a tea of some brand, you can spot the Lipton tea from a distance because of its yellow packaging, right? And you can get confused between the Supreme or Brook Bond because they share the same color. So identity is very much significantly defined based upon your packaging. So your packaging should be a memorable one, a unique one, and it should be easily recognizable one. Moreover, it should not compromise over the quality. Obviously, the way you package your product will add um, much quality layer over it, right? For example, you get any product and you open it and the packaging is very much in place, and it has all the safety. If it is some fragile thing, and there is enough packing material in it and it is packed very delicately, obviously you consider it as an added quality factor in it. So till the packaging thing, our product is almost wrapped up, and next comes the repairs and support. So obviously repair and support and the warranty, if we talk about all of them in combined, so delivering the product is not enough, right? No matter how much of good quality it is, it should be backed up by the organization that is delivering it, and it can only be made possible if you offer warranties or guarantees for that product, and you can offer the support system for that product. A lot of revenues are being generated by organizations just on basis of their support system, right? Free support systems are just offered for a limited time, but for the rest of the lifespan of that product, the support that is being offered to the customer is on based on price. So obviously organizations can later on benefit on that too. So whatever product you are giving out to the customers, if it has long time span and it is valid for repair and support program, so you should be providing it out, so that you can further win the confidence of the customers. uh, Next is the accessories and services. These are the additional benefits that you give along with the primary product whatever you're selling. Obviously these are the added values over your products and services, more or less complementary in many ways, so this can also enhance the overall marketing value of your product. Next is the price. Obviously when it comes to pricing strategy, you have to be very cautious. You have to look at your competitors, what they are offering, and how much margin do you have left to manage the price, and for how long you can keep up with that price, right? So you have to adopt a very smart pricing strategy so that it can be stay in reach of the customers, as well as you can earn good money from it. Second is the suggested retail price. Obviously the manufacturing price is different than the retail price, so the difference between the two should be a smart one and a calculated one, and you should know that in future how much of that difference is gonna remain, or how much it is gonna go up or down, considering your own organization strategy as well as possible competitors around you. So related to it is the volume discounts and the wholesale pricing. That if some supplier comes to you in terms of a customer and he wants to buy your product on large scale, so what discounts you are willing to offer to that uh, wholesale based customer, or what wholesale pricing you are willing to give to him or her, right? So you should strategize on it too. And next are the cash and early payment discounts. That it's the more like in terms of, if you see the phone industry, and that they are now offering discounts to the people who pre-order their products or their phones, right? So, or if you early register for some service, they offer you the discounts, right? So these kind of promotions and early discounts you should be giving out, and it should be way early planned before the launching of the product. Next is the seasonal pricing. Obviously some products work well in one season and not very well in the other season. So again, you should know that what's the time span of one pricing range for a product, and when its season is about to go out and has gone out, what should be the price drop for that particular product. Next is the bundling effect. Bundling is something that you combine one product with other complementary products or supporting products or other related products, and then give some promotions on and that basis, or give a reduced price on that specifically designed bundle. So that's again a part of the strategy, how you control and manage prices. And then is the price flexibility. Again, if we look at all the points, all sum up in our one term, that's the price flexibility. That with the changing of the seasons, the changing of the order demand, or the changing of the strategies within the organization, you have to remain price flexible. Next is the placement. Placement plays a pivotal role in the consistency of the marketing services that your organization is delivering, regardless of the fact, no matter how good your product is. If it's not available to the customers on time, they will get ultimately frustrated by it, and they will be much more willing to use the other competitive product, regardless of the fact if it is even a little lower on the quality or a little higher on the price. They will be willing to take it easily, without giving any second thoughts. So distribution is something and that any organization should take into consideration. They should have a good distribution network. If they don't have a distribution network of themselves, they should be able to outsource that distribution network to some credible sources, so that they could manage it. Further, the inventory should be ready enough at for every time. And this is something we have discussed before, that whenever you are producing some product or managing any service, you should be able to calculate your targeted market. If you have calculated your target market correctly and have uh, calculated your sales projection rightfully, then inventory management should be relatively easy. And then the warehousing is the storing of your products or essentials for any service at the right place, so that they can be made utilized or made use of on the desired time. Distribution center is something we have just discussed. Then in the last e-commerce lecture, we discussed that ordering processes are often very hectic, and for every $1 sale made, around $4.5 sales are just left in cart. It's just because of the tough ordering processes. So the order processes should be made easy for the customers so they can buy products easily without going through any hassle. Next is the transportation. Transportation is something that organizations have worked hard on, especially the big organizations. If you take an example of Amazon, they have bought their own aeroplanes rather than relying on any other service to deliver their product. Though they are using, though some portion of them are still using other services, but for most of their operations, they have their own logistical supports, right? And the Amazon, that's another transportation for the local product delivery they were using. So it's the evolution of the process, and the sooner they do it, the better it's for them, and the earlier they will be able to mature it. And next is the reverse logistics. Reverse logistics happens when in case some product doesn't go your way, right? A customer doesn't like it enough. So what's the process of getting it back to the organization for sake of improvement or for sake of return or exchange or whatever? So like the we have said that the distribution should be easy, the ordering should be easy, likewise the reverse logistics should also be easy enough. Next is the promotion. Promotion represents the communication of information about the product with the goal of generating a positive customer response, right? You offer different promotions on your products and your services to attract more and more customers, and for the retaining customer you again generate more of a goodwill. So it requires your advertisement. Either you do it on print media or electronic media, and the more you do it smartly, the better it is. And next is the personal selling and sales force. Obviously the people on the ground are also good at advertising your product, and the happier the customers, they automatically becomes your sales force on the ground. So next are the sales promotions. It's a simple thing that is has just been discussed and pretty understood. Next is the public relations and publicity. It's the outlook of your organizations toward, the in terms of social aspect, how socially acceptable your organization is. The more it is blended with the societal terms, the more good the public relations and the publicity will stand. Lastly is the marketing communication budget. Obviously all our things revolve around the capital. So in the e-commerce business we said that more than the 65%, I guess, percentage of the revenues earned were being invested in the online advertisement and the marketing campaign. So you should be smartly enough to justify whatever budget you are allocating to your advertisement or marketing communication, regardless of the medium you are using. This is the important one. Just basically summarizes what we have just discussed in our previous discussion. It is the marketing wheel of fortune and how marketing works in real time. So it's basically that you first target your customer, you define what's the spectrum you are hitting, what are the kind of people you are hitting, what the product you are going to launch or the uh, service you are offering, what good will it do to those customers, right? Next is the recognition of the competition and the research uh, that further defines the strengths and weaknesses, and likewise will further elaborate on the opportunities and threats of your competitors in the market. When you're done with that research, next comes the and you're done with the planning of it, next comes your product development, right? After the planning you make a product and you test it and you test it over and over again, you remove its flaws, it's done, right? Next come the pricing. We have just discussed that your pricing should be smartly enough, and it should alter and it should be flexible enough, based on your targeted market, based on the seasons, based on the offerings, based on the demand, right? Next is the label and packaging. We just discussed that your label and packaging should be informative one, and it should be a memorable one, right? It should be the part of your identity or whatever your product is representing. Second comes our logistics and distribution. It should be a sound one, it should be an on time one, and it should not give the competitors the opportunity to seep in and sell their products. Your deliverance of the product should be on spot. Advertisement and promotion and PR, those are pretty understood things, that how we do them, our products get promoted, and how the public relations help our product to reach more and more wider audiences. Next are the sales. Obviously, the more advertisement, the more exposure. If we get all of the previous factors right, our sales are going to boost, right? Our sales are going to boost, our product will become popular among the targeted audience, and probably our future audience will also be set. It won't be that much of a problem to attract them. So next come the part of retaining them. You have to retain your customer after you have sold them the product. So you should offer them enough customer service that's reliable enough, and it's timely enough, and it uh, solves their problems real time, and does not make any delays, and is um, humble, and it's helpful towards the customers, right? So now we are going to see that what's the difference between the small businesses and big corporates when it's come to marketing. Obviously, there are difference between the capital, and they are having large amounts of money, and while the small businesses don't have much of a capital. Obviously, there are staffing differences. They have already hired lots of people that are working for them. Small businesses don't have enough of that. Creative differences. Obviously, the entrepreneurs have the creativity open-ended, and they can think or experiment as much as they want, or they are capacitated of. But even though they are overrun by the creativity of the corporate level, though they may not have that much creative freedom, but they have enough freedom to implement the ideas, especially if there are entrepreneurs within that organization. And next is the strategic difference. The big corporates have enough experience when it comes to strategy, and the entrepreneurs of small businesses in specific don't have enough of a strategy. So, despite of whatever advantages the big corporations have over the small businesses or startups, and the aspect of the customers is something that the small businesses can capitalize on and can take a direct advantage of, because whenever there is startup or there is small business, and those businesses or individuals or owners or entrepreneurs, in terms of our topic, if you say, are directly connected with their customers or the clients, and they know very well how their behavior is changing with the time, and what are their needs and their requirements changing with the time. So they get the knowledge, or they observe the changes firsthand compared to our big organizations that are not that much directly related to their customers. So instead of investing so much money on the customers, the small businesses are having the advantage of getting direct knowledge from the customers, and they can have loyal customers rather quickly if they are willing to spend enough time and enough resources and are willing to deliver good products to the customers. So the next thing that defines our marketing strategy is something related very close to what the trends around us are evolving with the time, and the more we keep track of those trends, the more we are likely to be in game for our marketing strategies. So here are a few of the suggestions that can help be a trend tracker, and that may include reading the recent publications, either it's articles, it's a research papers. It should be just from an authentic source, that all that matters, and it can help you give a head start when it comes to marketing, and it can be enable you to get early projections for how things are changing around you. And then you can watch top 10 TV shows that may reflect how the trends or the products are shaping around you. You can see top 10 movies, because lots of the trends that are being followed by the people in our community is often related to or are reflected in the movies that we see, or sometimes the trends that are reflected in the movie are a way of projecting new ideas that later get on followed by the audience that watches those movies or TV shows or whatever is being trended in media. Next is very important that the no matter how many customers you have, you should have direct one-on-one interaction with them, and according to statistics, at least you should be talking to 150 customers a year, right? Next is as it is said that you are the sum of the people around you, so you should talk with smart people that know enough about the game already, so they can give you good advices and good suggestions. So how of about how should you be shaping your business. And the most neglected part is and that we uh, regardless of the fact listen to the smart people, but we mostly ignore the children and individuals of lesser age than us. But that is the generation and that is evolving with the new trends, and they may know something and that the elder generations may not know, or they may be more observant of the trends. So you should remain in touch with them and should have a brainstorming session with them, or you should ask them for open ideas or talk about the trends that are being followed. So, so for concluding our lectures, we first discussed about the four P's of marketing, that discussed about how our products should be and how well they should be placed in the market. And next we discussed about the pricing factor and how smartly should we price our product so it is easily accessible and should remain in the market for the longer terms. And then we talked about the promotions associated to our products and services. Next we summed those up in our marketing wheel of fortune. And next we discussed about how businesses different small businesses differ from the larger corporations, and how smaller businesses can take marketing advantage in comparison to the larger corporations. So that's all about uh, our marketing session for entrepreneurial ventures, and hope to see you in the next lecture.